So Esmeralda here is going to be getting a truck camper pretty soon. One problem we ran into is connecting the truck camper to the truck requires a few brackets that are usually specialized per truck brand, and those brackets go for $1,000, which I'm not going to pay. So yesterday we drove around town in the industrial area looking in dumpsters, and I found the perfect piece of square tube that's 2 inches that fits right in the back receiver hitch, a piece of angle iron which is probably 6-7 feet long, and a couple other small pieces of scrap steel. So this big heavy piece of tube steel here is the one I'm most excited for. So this is 1/4 inch thick, so this is super durable. The plan is to cut out a couple of these pieces and attach them. So this hitch here runs into this, so I need to have a piece come out, and then I'm going to bolt on a second piece below it because I'm not the best welder, and that will come all the way out here. And then that's where we can have our tie down point. I don't know why they threw this away. It was standing up in a dumpster, but you can see like it's got pretty heavy rust on it, so we're going to take the angle grinder and sand it down and see if we can get rid of some of that and make it look nice and pretty. Safety first. We're going to run with the wire wheel first. I think it's a little bit more effective. Alright, so look at that. That's before, that's after, with the wire wheel. That worked great. That took like probably 5 minutes. It's nice and smooth. There's barely any signs of rust on there. It looks brand new. Alright, so I've got 22 inches marked off. We're out in the desert, so I don't really have much for supplies with me. I couldn't find a marker, so duct tape's gonna have to do. So we're gonna cut out 22 inches, and that's gonna be extension that comes out. All right, so here's everything else we need to finish this up today. I have a 2-pack of 1/4 inch thick, 3 foot long chains. I have 1/2 inch thick, I think these are about 1 foot long turnbuckles. 1/2 inch thick, 5 inch long bolts. I've got 4 of these. 6 inch long, but 1/2 inch thick eye bolt. 2 of these 1/2 inch thick quick connects. I bought a drill bit today because the old ones are pretty worn out, and then 2 safety pins. Here is what our setup is going to look like. This end is going to go into the hitch. Safety pin here. I will have 2 bolts going through here and here that'll connect these 2 together, and at the very end here, the eye bolt is going to go through here. All right, so a quick tip. This hopefully saves you guys a whole day of stress. I basically spent like 4 to 6 hours this morning trying to drill those 1/2 inch holes with one of these like drill bits. I don't know the specifics, but it says it cuts through metal. These are junk, don't bother. What you need is one of these step bit drill bits. This thing here cuts 100 times faster than I could with these. These get dull really quick. These cut more from the side, which I think is more like efficient when cutting through thick metal. And the other thing to look out for, make sure you get titanium or cobalt. Don't mess around with any of the other stuff. You want it to be harder than steel, that way it actually cuts way better. All right, so here's the finished up mounts in the back, other than painting them. Got the safety pin through the hitch here, extends out. Eye bolt connects to the turnbuckles, and I'll zoom out for you guys. There you go. So I've got this 7 foot piece of angle iron. I think it's 7 foot, close to that. And this big bent piece of steel. It's got a rectangular shape. I think this is like 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to cut this into 4 different foot strands, and then I'm going to cut 2 foot long pieces of this. All right, 1 down, 3 to go. So that's before, that's after. Look at that. All right, so here's those. Use the wire brush on the inside and the outside. These look good. All right, so now we want 2 pieces of this rectangular tubing of the same length. So let's go cut these. All right, so that's one down. Not gonna lie, my hand's starting to hurt. That is a lot of vibration from using this thing. I'm well aware there's better ways to cut this. Wish I had like an angle grinder or I don't know, a bandsaw or something, but gonna make do with what we got. Hercules for the win today. So the idea is that right there. We're welding the front brackets right now. I've got one of those titanium Harbor Freight welders, like 125 bucks. Here's our first welds. This is like my second, maybe third time welding ever, and they're not professional, but they'll hold, so I'm quite happy with it. Alright, so here's our 2 brackets welded together. This is the angle iron pieces on the side, welded to that main piece of steel in the middle. I welded on both sides, which might be overkill, but considering I have not really welded before, I want to make sure that this thing isn't rock solid. Next, we're going to drill the holes on the upper sides, upper corners, and then we're going to mount it to the frame and measure out the arms. Alright, I've just drilled out our 4 holes, 2 on each side. This will go to the top of the frame, this will go to the bottom of the frame. And then I'm going to use these little J-bolts. They're going to go through on the back side and hook onto the frame. And then I'll put a washer and a bolt, or a washer and a nut on this side. Alright, so I just finished up the 2 outrigger bars, I guess you'd call them. Here's the main brace. These 2 I put a slight angle onto. So that's gonna go on the bottom there. Out here where the holes are is where the eye bolts are gonna be. That's gonna attach to the turnbuckles. And it should just give it just enough angle to go out and under the truck. All right, so we got everything in place. So I'm gonna weld this around here and we're gonna see how this goes. All right, so here's the front bracket. I've got the main parts welded on. I am going to weld on a brace here with some of the angle iron, but first, let's see how strong these welds are. Looks good to me. All right, so here's the finished front mount. As you guys can see here, I welded on this piece of angle iron as a cross brace. All the welds on here after our heavy duty durability test seem to hold just fine, so I think we're good. I'm gonna go install this on the truck. There we go. This is the front mount here, all finished up. I've got 4 of these J-bolts that go around back and hook onto the frame. The bar down here comes down, connects to the turnbuckle system, which goes up to the truck camper. Well, there you have it. We just saved ourselves $1,000. The finished mounting systems are all done. Here's the front mount, there's the rear mount. Now, this is great. I would like to point out, as much as I hate spending money, you'll notice there's a difference between the rear turnbuckles and the front turnbuckles. For the front turnbuckle system, I actually splurged. These are about 120 bucks. It's called Torque Lift Spring Loads. Now what this does is inside of this is a really heavy duty spring. And so when you actually hit bad bumps or like hard turns, that spring will give a little bit and give a little bit of sway to the actual truck camper. If you don't have that, you're way more at risk of just snapping these mounts right off the truck camper. And if you do that, that's an even bigger job. So do yourself a favor, 120 bucks. It sucks, but it comes with a chain. That's 30 bucks right there. It comes with a turnbuckle. That's 20 bucks. So realistically, it's not too bad. If any of you guys do know of a spring that could emulate this system here, let me know, because I looked around on the internet everywhere, and you need a pretty heavy duty spring. I looked up the calculations. I'm pretty sure it's 300 pounds per inch of give on the spring, and I was not able to find anything remotely close to that online. Maybe a valve spring for like engines would be something along those lines, but if you guys can find anything like that, since people can DIY this, let me know in the comments. All right, so one last update. It's been a couple months since I actually made a video, but I wanted to test drive the truck and some miles on it before I actually posted this, just in case the brackets just shattered or something like that. But yeah, so here we are. We're parked on a gorgeous lake today. A little bit cold, a little bit windy, but we've gone about 1,000 miles in the truck with the brackets holding down the truck camper now, and everything's gone fantastic. So if you guys want to save some money and are trying to build a setup like this, I highly recommend just building your own brackets. Even if you have to buy a couple tools, it's worth it in the long run. So thanks for watching.